So we're joined from the hub city of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, by my friend Jammieca Godfrey, owner of Godfrey Property Group there in Hattiesburg. This is our entrepreneurship class here at Velma Jackson. And I've got a room full here with me, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for talking about this very popular but very misunderstood area of entrepreneurship.
Thank you for having us.
Now, obviously, we want to talk about Godfrey Property Group and how the real estate business works. But just give us a little background from Jefferson Davis County,
That is
Bathfield,
correct.
Mississippi, and then just take us through your education because your degree has really not a lot to do with real estate, and then you spent time as a teacher.
Yes. So Hatfield High School, home of the Yellow Jackets. In 2003, I went on to USM, majoring in political science, criminal justice, business marketing, and I eventually ended up at Liberty, and I finished with a bachelor's degree in business finance. My son has disabilities, so I stay at the school more than I did at work when I worked in finance for 5 years. So I was like, I'm going into education. I went an alternate route into education. I have a master's degree in education administration. I also have a master's degree in education, research, evaluation, statistics, and assessment. And I am two chapters away from a doctoral degree
Oh,
in
wow.
education. Research evaluation and statistics. I do hold a license, and what do I have license in? A real estate broker's license, and I think that's about it. I also own an educational consulting firm that specializes in behavior management and students with disabilities as well. But I am a full-time realtor slash broker owner.
Wow. No, what a resume. Now, like we said before I started recording, even if people don't want to go into the entrepreneurship side of real estate, at the end of the day, everybody in real estate is an entrepreneur. And it's very misunderstood because, like I said, I have lost count of the
Mhm.
amount of students who told me, yeah, I'd love to get my real estate license because they make a lot of money. But they don't
Mhm.
understand that it is not a salary position. It is 100% commission. And
That's
even
right.
if you are just an agent for a broker, you are a entrepreneur for yourself. So talk
Right.
a little bit about, how you got into it and a little bit how the business works, because I think a lot of kids don't realize that.
Okay, so as a child, my mom used to drive us through neighborhoods and we would look at houses. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love these houses. They're beautiful. And of course, I saw it on TV of the ladies wearing their nice little dresses and looking cute and going out. And I'm like, I'm going to be a realtor because I had that same mindset that realtors make a lot of money. And that's where the money is. So once my kids got older and they graduated, and I went from K-12 education to higher ed education. I was like, I'm gonna go into real estate. I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. Took the classes, and I remember my broker, she's my line sister, but at the time she was like, you gotta buy your signs, you gotta buy your lock boxes, you gotta do your marketing. And I felt offended when she said it because I'm like, you're trying to count my money. I got it. You just don't want me to do it. And I took the class. Actually, Crystal, my associate broker, she and I took the class together. We ended up going into real estate. My first year, y'all, I saw one house, and I worked pretty hard, but I sold one house. I think I ended up making maybe $4,000 off that deal. My second year, I sold and probably made probably 25,000 that year. And my past year, I made close to $100,000. This year, yes, I did good. Some months we have good months, but it is not what it is all cracked up to be. Um, you are an independent contractor. That means you come to work when you want to. You basically do whatever you want. You're responsible for your insurance. That's your health insurance, your life insurance, all of that. And if you don't sell, you don't make any money. If you do not sell, if you do not close, you do not make any money. My first client was a referral. Somebody referred them to me. I had to pay a referral fee for them referring it to me. My broker had to get a cut of that. And you'll be sitting up there saying, I did really good. I made $8,000. That's the check they cut me at the closing attorney's office. But once all the fees get taken out, you probably go home with maybe $3,000 after your referral fees and everything. So it's not all that it's cracked up to be, but it is what you put into it. Right now,
Absolutely.
I own my own brokerage, and I tell my agent, I say I work this job like it's a 8 to 5 every day. Every day. I'm in my office, or I get up and start working, because if I'm in the office, I got to be making calls. I got to be writing contracts. I have to be in front of someone in order to make these deals. I just can't be sitting in here in my cute office with my coffee and with my two TVs and sitting up here looking cute. I have to be out in the field. I have to be on the phone. I have to be networking. It's a lot that goes into it. And if you don't close, and I have to stress that a lot because deals fall through as well. You have to get to the closing table in order to make the money. And some months you may have good months. I was just speaking to someone today, and I said, for the month of October, I made $30,000 in 1 month. And he was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, that's good. Yeah, it's good, but I didn't make anything in November or December. So you have to be able to budget for the months that you don't close anything.
Yeah,
So it's
and one thing about real estate is depending on, because growing up in the house of a realtor, I learned a lot.
Mhm.
Once you get you're under a broker, they may be able to provide you with some things. They can a lot of
Mhm.
them provide signs, they'll provide marketing material. But at the end of the day, like you said, you're an independent contractor. You have to be your own brand. You have to find ways to reach the clients. You have to be a hustler. Real estate is not a career for anybody that does not take initiative. However, one thing I always say, we have kids all the time that say they're not really a college person, they don't want to do the college
Mhm.
route.
Mhm.
This is a career that does not need a college degree. And I'm not
Right.
discouraging anybody from going to college because we both went to Southern Miss and we're both proud alums. But if you're a young person that says, look, I just want to get in there and be a hustler and I want to find a career where I don't need a degree, real estate could be the answer to that question.
That's right. You can be a realtor at the age of 18. So you don't have to have a high school diploma, but you do have to have that hustle. You have to get up every day and get it. You cannot lay around. You cannot sit around. You cannot be shy and not speak to people. And it's competitive. I think in the
Yeah.
state of, well, in Hattiesburg area, we have probably about 400 or 500 realtors, and I can go and pull production. I can see who's selling, who's not. And let's talk about that for a minute. If you're in it and you're just, hey, I'm gonna try it out, I'm gonna give it a shot, I'm gonna see what I can do, and you really are not in it, you're gonna be spending out more than you're making. Because you have dues every year, you have dues every quarter, you have to market yourself, you have to get in front of people. And when you do get a property, you have to market that as well. So if you have that drive, if you're getting up every day and your parents are not having to tell you, hey, get up, go take a bath, come on. If you get up and you're like, hey, I'm boots on the ground, I'm ready to get out here and get it. Let me find a way to be creative. Let me find a way to get out here and do it. This may be the career for you. And with
Absolutely.
real estate, something that I do, and all realtors don't do this, I do, we have our areas of specialty. So I specialize in new construction, land, residential, pre-construction, already constructed houses. I also just this year I tapped into commercial real estate.
Cool.
So no lie, today I just closed on a lease. It just took negotiating. I also went on the contract on another commercial building that I listed, and I have another commercial lease to negotiate. I traveled the entire state of Mississippi. On Thursday, we're going to be in Tupelo listing a house.
That's awesome.
So you have to get out here and get it. But if I will not discourage anyone from doing it, but completely know what type of mindset, what type of work ethics, what type of personality, what type of drive you have to get in this industry, and not only get in it but be successful at it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you've taken the step of owning your own firm, because
Yes,
you can be a successful realtor as a realtor for a broker, but you take the extra step. You're not only a licensed realtor, you're a licensed broker. So not only are you selling the properties as a realtor, you're running a business on top of that. So
yes,
at the end of the day, you're making decisions on how the realtors under your brokerage are representing your brand. And then, if all the big decisions on how you market, you have to find catchy ways for people under your brokerage to be able to market. And I'm so
hmm
glad you mentioned communication because we're getting ready to do our presentations. And
hmm
I always talk about it, and I know they get so sick of me talking about this, but it's my soapbox. You have to learn to talk in order to do business, no matter
that's
what field
right.
of entrepreneurship you go into. You've got to be able to walk in a room and introduce yourself. You've got to be able to
Yes,
sell yourself. You've got to be able to sell your product, in your case, to sell the property. And then on top
yes,
of that, real estate's different in another way too, because so many times sales you're trying to upsell. Now let's
that's
try to
right.
sell them a little bit extra. Real estate's not really like that. You don't want
hmm
to try to talk somebody into buying a house they can't afford. You
That's
want to
right.
talk about what they can afford, what they want for their family, because this is a lifelong investment. This isn't something at a retail store where you're trying to get them to buy a pair of earrings with some blue jeans or get them to
That's right.
buy a Bluetooth with a cell phone. That's completely different. In this case, it takes great listening skills to really know what your client needs.
Yes, yes. You have to be able to listen. You have to be able to be patient. You have to be patient and you have to be honest and transparent with your clients. If you have a client that is coming in from, let's say, Georgia, and houses there are a little, you get more house for the bulk there. Coming here, they may say, oh, that's overpriced. You have to be able to pull information and explain why something is priced the way it is. We have to talk about their budget, what they can afford, how the economy is going. We have to do research on insurance, how that's going to impact them. And there's so many other people that work together to make sure that a transaction is closed. And again, we want to make sure that our clients are staying in the home and not losing the home.
Yeah, and on top of that, with you being the business owner, you mentioned good months and bad months.
Yeah.
Whether you make 30,000 a month or zero a month, you still have to pay rent on the building you're in. You still
Yes.
have to pay utilities to keep the power and the internet on. You still have to pay
Yes.
the water for people to be able to go to the bathroom while they're in the office. So
That's
talk
right.
about that extra responsibility because look, we've all seen the TikToks about people are making all this money in real estate. Well, if you're not making money, you still have business expenses as a business owner.
That's right. So I have a suite here at my location in Hattiesburg. We actually moved from upstairs to downstairs because we're expanding, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter whether I sell or not. The bills here are going to continue to come. My agents come in, they have to have access to internet. So even though I may not be selling, they have to have access. And as a business owner, you don't want to come in the building and your lights are turned off or your internet is turned off. You're still responsible for that. And that's called overhead costs. And not only are you responsible for that, remember those fees I talked about? We have a on our phone we have a thing called Super. It open doors. That's a monthly fee that you have to do. I have a separate cell phone. You don't have to have it, but that's a monthly fee. And insurance, just making sure that my agents are covered with insurance. I have to make sure as a business owner, I'm providing that insurance and making sure that's covered as well. So regardless if I make money or not, I'm still responsible. And as a broker, I'm responsible for everything the agents do. So if they go out there and they make bad decisions or they make a mistake, I'm still responsible for their transactions. And you can easily go to the Mississippi Department, MREC, Mississippi Real Estate Commission, and you can see where there's disciplinary actions. And what stands out to me on there, they may also have a disciplinary action against the agent, but the broker is mentioned as well because the broker is responsible for their actions. So you
There
can't
you go.
get in here and go rogue and say you're going to do what you want to do. No, there's rules and procedures that have to be followed here as well.
Now, before I get to their questions, because they've got me some
Mhm.
unbelievable questions about this, I think it's important also to mention networking within the field because a lot of customers are going to appreciate the fact you say, look, I know XYZ who's a home inspector. You sign this contract, we're going to get them in here. They're really easy to work with. Here's how you get them. And I've had them before, and they did this, and they did this for me. That ease of the transaction makes things so much easier. If you can deal
Yes.
with, you know, dealing with somebody to if they're on the construction side, if there's something that has to be fixed before the house is closed on, you can say, hey, I know XYZ that does great carpentry work. We can fix this small problem here and we can move on. I know somebody that does electrical work, whatever. So having those networking skills within the field is huge as well, not only with customers, but with contractors that can make a transaction go that much more smoothly.
With contractors, with your lenders, with
I
other
forgot about lenders. Yeah.
agents,
Yeah.
with other lenders, with other agents, because I deal with new constructions a lot of times, and I do stats as well, so I want to make sure that my houses are sold below the average days on markets. I have to reach out to agents and say, hey, I have this property, come take a look at it. Even though it's in the system, I also reach out to them. Having that door of communication with your lenders. Hey, how soon can we close? This person is relocating. We don't really want to put them in a hotel. Is there any way that we can close this sooner? And as you said, with the home inspectors, if there's an issue with an appraisal, that's a big one for me because a lot of times agents don't communicate with the appraiser. But it has been times that it may have looked like an error on someone's part, and I'm able to call, or if I'm looking to build in a certain area, I can call that appraiser and asked him, hey, if I build here, what are the comps in the area that I can use because this is a new construction and I don't have it. Networking is key. Networking will take you further than mostly anything else.
Yeah, and big shout out to my friend Scott McMurray and down there in Hattiesburg, one of the best real estate appraisers in the business. And another thing, and look, I know this really doesn't have anything to do with entrepreneurship, but I'm all about getting all the facts. You are absolutely outside of your mind if you open a business or move into a home and you have not had it inspected.
That's right.
Pay the four hundred
Pay the
dollars
money.
and have it inspected because once it's
That's
on a
right.
contract, you are out of luck.
That's
So
right. Even
if you
a
don't hear
new
anything else I say
construction.
today, make sure you hear that. And
That's
so
right.
make sure.
Even with a new construction, sometimes they will waive the inspections. My builders that I work with, they go and get their own inspection anyway. But get the home inspection for your protection. Get the home inspection.
Yeah, if you don't hear anything else I say today, always
Get
make
the
sure
home
you get
inspection.
something inspected before you get in there. But I
That's
do
right.
have some unbelievable questions, and I'm so
Okay.
glad they're thinking about this stuff. Um, this is Jameer Mayfield. He's in 11th grade. He has a really cool business concept, a
Mhm.
barbecue that also feeds the homeless. So he's got kind of a social entrepreneurship mindset. But he
Mhm.
asked, right now, what is the best location or type of property that would be most beneficial to invest in?
Right now, we have to separate it from commercial and residential. Right now, new constructions are booming for me. I have investors and they invest in new construction. They are not building the new constructions, they are fronting the money and they make profit off of that. I will also invest in flips. Houses that look very distressed. Make sure you check the location. But if you have a good rate on return, um, at the repair value on that property, you can always bring in residual income. And that's when you're asleep, your property is still making money for you. And you can always call us to manage your properties.
Love it. This is Aaliyah Clay. She's in ninth grade. Has a really cool concept about a daycare for single mothers. And
Mhm.
she asked, what is something that most buyers or sellers don't think to ask when they want to buy a property?
Do you have an answer for that one? Mm-mm. What do they not think to ask when buying a property? About the taxes. They don't look into additional fees and costs associated with their loan. So they look at the property, they love the property, but they do not consider the additional costs associated, which would be your taxes and your insurance and how they may fluctuate over time, as well as additional taxes that may be school or additional taxes in the area. Mhm.
Yeah, or some of them don't think about the interest rate they're going to get on that on the mortgage loan, because depending on your credit score, that's going to fluctuate as well. So that's a
Right.
whole other conversation for a whole nother day.
Right. And I will also say this as it relates to interest rates, knowing the different types of interest rates. Is it going to increase over time? Is it a fixed rate? Because sometimes it can be advertised that you will get a 3.99% interest rate. And in the fine print, it may say for the first 5 years, and then it will go up to whatever the market rate is, which may be 7%. And that will have a drastic impact on your monthly mortgage.
Wow. I like this one. Now, I already know the answer to this, and I told him this too, but I want to hear your answer. This
Mhm.
is Elijah Dawson. He's in 10th grade, and he asked, what does a typical work day look like for you?
Okay, so a typical work day for me, I'm boots on the ground at 6:30 in the morning. I wake up, I go and look at my properties. If they're local, I go to my properties. And although I'm dressed in like my cute clothes today, normally I have on a GPG shirt, which is my branded shirt, some tights, and some boots because I'm out on the property and I'm looking. I'm traveling throughout today with my app looking for new property to sell. I'm in front of people trying to make content. I'm posting on social media. I'm writing contract and negotiating contracts. And believe it or not, I know this is going to be weird. Most of the time, I don't leave the office until like 10 o'clock at night after I make sure I finish my rounds and I've debriefed and I've consulted with my different partners. Immediately after this meeting, I'm actually heading into another meeting with a financial institute to look into financing our new construction. So it's always a
Awesome.
meeting or trying to make sales.
Well, I appreciate you fitting this in there. And another thing, you mentioned about the independent contractor, you can set your own hours. So this could be something if you want to have a family, can be very
Yeah.
can be can work great with that. But I'll never forget, like I mentioned, I grew up in the house with in the home with a realtor. We were watching the dang Super Bowl, and she gets a page on the old beepers about a house, and she was just like, "I'm just have to call him tomorrow." You
Yeah.
never know
Yeah.
when people are going to try to call you.
You never know. They will call on the holidays. They will call on the weekends. I have one client, just a quick story. I had a client, I call him old school because he's like 70 something years old and he drives. He has an old Lincoln Town car and he drove it from New York down here. And he called me at like 9 o'clock at night and he said, "Hey, I went by this property. I want to go ahead and put a contract in." And I tried to send it to him electronically, but he was like, "I don't know how to use this phone." So I had to meet him like at like 10 o'clock. We were at a public place and I met him for him to just sign the paper. So yeah, so it's just your clientele is gonna be different. Always let people know where you are. I have to throw this in here. Always be safe. Let people know where you are. Keep your Life 360 or find my iPhone on and share it with someone because safety is first.
Big time. I like this one. This is Tredarius Quinn. He's in 10th grade. Member of our band here. Has a great concept for a clothing line that he's already begun. And he asked, what has been the most challenging property you've had to sell?
Okay. Oh my gosh. The second one that I had. Do you want to? Did it have to be sold? Did I have to have sold it, or do
No,
you
just
have
the
time
biggest
for two
challenge because I want
stories?
to hear this one.
Okay. So, I don't know if you all are familiar with the show Extreme Makeovers.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a house in Hattiesburg. It was on Extreme Makeovers. The owner found me and he loved how I did my open houses and everything. Went out to list the property. Big house, like 4,000 square feet home. However, they had a lot of dogs. I'm just gonna say they had a lot of dogs. So y'all know what comes with a lot of dogs, right? And they were adamant about how much they wanted to sell the property for, although the comps did not justify the price, and they did not. noticed the smell from the dogs, and it was hard. It was a hard task. I actually lost that property, and I'm okay with it. Probably should not have signed up for it. But that was like the hardest one. I will never forget that. Yeah, that's the
Wow.
hardest property.
I got time for two more. This is Shanaria Lewis. She's in 10th grade. And she asked, what do you do to handle unhappy customers?
I be patient with them, and I set the tone from the beginning. And as I tell my agents, it's okay to let them go. It's okay to sever the relationship. The customer does not have to end the relationship. My agents can end the relationship as well. And when I say relationship, whether it's a buyer's agent relationship or a seller agent relationship or a dual agency relationship, they can end it. But from the very beginning, they know my tone, they know what to expect, and I let them know you're not going to receive everything you want. I'm going to work with you. I know how important this is. But in any event that we go forth in, we want to make sure that we're respectful of each other. And if we can't work together, we just sever the relationship. I can't make them all happy.
Yeah. Now, I need to correct myself because that was not Shanaria. That was Jacayla Cross. And she made sure that she said that was my question, not hers. But
Okay,
Jacayla Cross
Jackayla.
in
Thank you
10th
for that
grade.
question.
I got one more. This is Quenisha Kennedy. She's in 11th grade, has a really cool concept for an auto detail shop. But
Mhm.
she asked, what is one piece of advice you'd give to someone who wanted to start out in real estate?
Shadow someone. Shadow someone. Um, learn everything you can learn about real estate. Um, do numbers. Do numbers. Be realistic with yourself. Know how much you need to make and plan for that and have a backup.
There you go.
And I say have a backup because during the months of November and December, I think that's let me back up. To answer the question, have a backup. And I only say that because during the months of November and December, when I did not have any sales, I had my consulting business and it brought in income for my household as well.
That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of
Mhm.
time, and we thank you so much for joining us. But a couple of things before we go. First of all, GodfreyPropertyGroup.com is the website
Yes.
for all your properties there in the Pine Belt and all over Mississippi. All your social media stuff is on there. If anybody has any questions, they can reach out to you on there and email you.
Yes.
Um, Now, the last thing before we go, and I know I've mentioned it a few times, but I grew up in a
Mhm.
house with a realtor in the Jackson area,
Mhm.
and I can remember one black realtor that she ever did a deal with when I was coming up.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, that has changed tremendously in Mississippi. There's been a great growth in diversity when it comes to real estate, but we
Mhm.
always need more diverse realtors. We have a lot of first generation Americans in our district. We need more bilingual realtors. We need realtors that know sign language because the demographics of the
Yes.
state are changing. So we need the
Yes.
demographics of the realtors to change. So as
Yes.
these people are making decisions, why should they really consider getting into this field and using it as not only a great source of income, but as a great form of entrepreneurship to give us more diversity on business or minority owned businesses in Mississippi.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to take that question and add an extra layer to
Oh,
it.
go
Not
ahead.
only bringing diversity into the field of real estate, but also educating people of color and the minorities on real estate as well. This can be a profitable business for individuals, but also you can make an impact in the lives of others. I
Big
did a
time.
study before, and a lot of times the people of color like to go into jobs where we nurture people more, like healthcare. We're going to be nurses, or we're going to work where we can help people. You can do that right here in this industry. Um,
Wow.
with real estate, you're able to educate people. You are able to provide them with knowledge, and not only knowledge that will help them, but will help them also build generational wealth. So come in. I am happy to help you in any shape, form, or fashion to not only make an impact in your life, but in the lives of others as well.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you fitting us in. I know you got to make your next meeting, but thank you so much from down on Hardy Street in
Yes.
Hattiesburg, the hub city there in the Pine Belt. We thank you so much for
Mhm.
joining us. Jammieca Godfrey, owner of Godfrey Property Group. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Have a great
I talk to you
day.
soon, buddy.
All
See
right.
ya.
Bye bye.